Accra Metropolitan Assembly has vowed to demolish more illegal structures within or along the shores of Jamestown right through to Osu-Klote. This was announced when the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Chief Executive Alfred Oko van der Poy, in the company of the Ga, Osu and English Traditional Council, as well as Assembly members, toured Mensa Guinea on Wednesday, 10th of September. Now, we know that they demolished the area. This was sometime last week, all through the weekend. And, you know, the human rights activists have come to say that, hang on there, there's something that you didn't do right there. But there are certain people in the center of it all. People that perhaps we haven't really paid close attention to. I was surprised to hear that there's actually a union, if you like, of the slum dwellers. And I'm happy to say that we have the president of the Slum Union of Ghana joining me this morning, Philip Kuma. I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for your time and good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay. Also, Samuel Abochi, we discussed this issue just on Monday. He's a human rights activist and he joins me again. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Okay. So, Philip, I would start with you. I want to know your story. I mean, are you a slum dweller? Would you call yourself that?
Yes, I am. I am a slum dweller.
So how did it start? Where do you come from?
I come from the Volta region, and I settled in the slums when I was looking for a place to run my business. And renting a shop was so expensive, so I had to go there, and I got my shop, and eventually had to live there. I've been there for the past 15 years, doing my business there. So that's how I came.
Okay, so you settled where exactly in Accra?
In Old Fadama.
Old Fadama, okay. Yes. But you've moved from where you were before?
Oh, yes.
Okay, but you settled there for 15 years, you said?
Yes, I've been there for 15 years now.
Okay. So is the story really because you can't readily get the money to rent a place to live in and then start your business as well? So is it a place that you want to be for just for a brief while and then relocate?
Yeah, the point is no one intends to remain in a slum forever. Sometimes we get there because you can't afford the rents in town. And that place is affordable. So we start business there. So when you are able to make it, then you move out. So that's how it is.
But is that the plan? Because then if people are living in a slum for 15, 20, 30 years, there won't be an end to it. It would always remain a safe haven for somebody else who's come to town.
Yes, to some extent that's the case. But it's just because people cannot afford. There's no affordable housing. So when people move to town, that's the cheapest place they can settle. It's so expensive to rent a house. So that is why some people find themselves in the slums.
Samuel, we discussed this issue on Monday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, not only did the AMA chief executive say that I'll continue the demolition exercises, but now those who traditionally we know own the lands have also given their full backings to the AMA chief executive. What's your point?
No, they are the powerful in society. I know when you are poor.
But do you still have concerns? Because if the land belongs to me, and I say that, Mayor, you can go ahead and do whatever it is that you want to do. What is your business?
Our business is, I mean, the fact that you own a land, you own a property, or you own whatever you have. We have rules and regulations. We have human rights issues. So, fine, you can take your land back, but how do you take it? That is the question. These people are not claiming that the land belongs to them. They are not fighting for entitlement of the land and so on. These are settlers. You just heard the president saying that who would they like to stay in Tasako, East Legon, and so on and so forth. But these are people who are vulnerable by virtue of their economic situation. So if you are evicting such a person from your land that belongs to you, Ali, why wouldn't you just add human face to it? These are human beings. Human beings, they are not animals. They are not grass and trees that you can just get up one day and cut and clear. No, human beings. And you know, the UN and other international institutions, including the Constitution of Ghana, recognize that there are people who are powerless.
But don't you care about the fact that at Mensa Guinea, for instance, we were told that some of my colleagues who also went there, you know, did say that the place was really in a mess.
Yes.
Don't you care about the fact that there's a cholera outbreak and that these places, you know, must be checked and checked thoroughly? And if this is, you know, the way to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to help them. We have to help them with their sanitation issues. We have to educate them. We have to help them. Those of us who are in a position to help them, we have to help them. Now that you've driven them away or you've thrown them to the street, are they not going to toilet anymore? Are they not bathing? What they were doing when you said that the place was filthy and so on and so, are they not doing? Are they no more eating? Have they stopped eating? They haven't stopped eating. They're still there. So we have not solved the problem. What we have done is that we've just moved them from a particular place to another place to continue the same attitude. You see,
Mr. Kuma, what's your what have you observed and what have you got to say with regards all these demolition exercises, especially the one that happened at Mensa Guinea, which is the latest?
As for evictions, we are not completely against evictions, but when it is forced eviction is what we are against. And what happened there is forced eviction.
They gave notice.
Oh, how many days? Just 3 days. And I don't think it is fair at all.
But the point is, you have no rights living there in the first place. So what rights have you got to say that the 3 days is not enough?
Just heard what my friend said. We have rules that has to be followed. There's due process that has to be followed. And that is what we are talking about. We are not claiming ownership of the land. We are not saying that we must remain there. But if the people have to be evicted, then due process has to be followed. Enough notice. And there should be negotiation. I mean, all this didn't take place. It just violates the human rights laws. And that's what we are against.
But don't you care that you're settling in a place that is not legal?
That's a very sensitive question. You keep saying the place is not, we are settling at a place that is not legal.
Because usually there are no toilet facilities, you know, so it's not even healthy for you as a human being to be living there.
To some extent, I agree with you. But we have toilets. If you go to Mensa again, there's a public toilet there. We have toilets in all these communities. So as for toilet, it's not a problem. If you talk about sanitation, yes, I agree, it's not the best. But the authorities have the duty to help the people.
And there are criminals, you know, who also live there.
I'm surprised you are mentioning this. Where in the society don't we have criminals?
Okay, but
everywhere,
I think the issue is criminals hide in these areas.
I disagree
so
with you.
it's a hideout for them.
I strongly disagree with you. That is not a hideout. Have you visited Old Fadama before?
Well, that's what we hear.
Have you? I'm asking you.
Say Old Fadama.
Yes. Have
No.
you visited? Yes.
No.
You need to visit.
Even if
listen.
I may not know.
Oh, exactly. You need to visit these places so that at least you can confirm what they are saying. I am a resident of Old Fadama, a slum. Do I look like a criminal to you?
I think the point is.
You see?
I think the point and the issue. Do you totally agree that it serves as a hideout for some criminals, because that's what we've heard with Mensa Guinea as well.
That is what I am saying is not true. You see, give a dog a bad name so you can hang it. When you look at slums, it's made up of poor people. And so always people just give us different names. They just criminalize us. And it's not true. It's not true at all. When you go to all these slums, you see that people are working. They're hardworking. They contribute to the economy. You see, how do they fend for themselves? They have businesses that they do.
So what's the plan? As a union, it means that you're in touch with all these groups because you know you are the bigger umbrella. This is the whole of Ghana. What's the plan for persons who settle in these areas to someday move out?
Yes, our education to them is that they should be living in anticipation of moving out someday.
How soon?
How soon, we cannot tell. But, all depends on what you're able to make out of the place. So, for Slum Union, what we are doing is that we keep educating the people on sanitation and to be law-abiding. So, if you talk about a heaven for criminals, that one I will always disagree.
But you see, you say that you educate them on sanitation matters to be hygienic.
Yes.
But in some of the areas, they're still not getting it. So if they come back to say that criminals are hiding in such places, we will believe it too.
I'm surprised you are hammering on criminals. Now, if you talk about sanitation, who is responsible? It's the authorities. Move along the streets of Accra. You see refuse piled up there. What do you do to those people? Do you go and demolish the houses around that place because there is refuse there? Who caused it? Whose duty is it to clear the refuse? Even on the streets, marketplaces, you have this refuse there. Why are you concentrating on just the slums and leaving the street? These cholera outbreaks are a result of this refuse that was not collected, and the whole city is filthy. That's what brought up the cholera outbreak. They keep saying it's from the slum. It's not true. Mensa Guinea, they say 16 people died from cholera. And it's not true. From our investigation, it's not true at all.
Nobody has died?
People have died. I think 3.
From what?
From cholera. We agree. And it's not only Mensa Guinea, it's all over the country. So why are we just singling out a particular slum that they are the cause of cholera? No.
Mr. Awachi, now you say you're headed to court. That's the latest,
yes,
right?
Yes, we are heading to court. And let me just point out something he said. If there's a refuge hit at East Legon, Trasako village and so on, do you go demolishing their houses? Because they are powerful. It is the duty.
Also because they are legally, they are entitled to live there.
Okay, so say that these people are illegally occupying the place to evict them. That's saying that they are the cause of cholera and so on. If there's cholera at Mensa Guinea, that one you can go and demolish their houses. But if there's cholera at Domi or Kwabenya or Achimota, that one you don't go demolishing the houses, isn't it? Because these people are powerless. They are helpless. They are not powerful. So it's easy to write and run them. Very easy.
But the politicians, and you are here. You're here so you can say, do the politicians come to these areas to come and campaign? What do they tell you? And what do you tell them?
The politicians come there to campaign. They solicit for our votes. You'll be surprised that even the late president was in Ofadama walking there, canvassing for our votes. They go there. Even Mensa Guinea, they go there. We have polling stations at Mensa Guinea. Are you aware of that? 2 polling stations there. They come there and we vote for them. And when they get the power, then they turn their
But what did they tell you when they come to these areas? I'm interested. I mean, do they promise to turn the slums into, like a first-class residential area, or what did they say?
If you look at the manifesto of the NDC, they talk about upgrading the slums. It's part of their campaign. All the parties, they talk about upgrading the slums. But unfortunately, when they get to power, they look elsewhere. It's not more a priority. That's our problem.
Do you engage the MPs, the members of parliament? Are they persons who also visit these areas?
Yes, they do. They visit the MP. The MP visits the area. And they keep promising. Probably it's not yet time, but we believe one day they will really look at us.
Mr. Awachi, so you have a good case, to battle out?
Yes. Let me tell you why we have a good case. If you go to 1992 Constitution, Article 23 says that administrative bodies and administrative officials shall act fairly and reasonable and comply with the requirement imposed on them by law, and persons aggrieved by the exercise of such acts and decisions shall have the right to seek redress before a court or other tribunal. Now, when you go to, if you go to 33(1), if you go to 33(1), talking about chapter 5, Article 33, it says that where a person alleges that a provision of this Constitution on the fundamental human rights and freedom has been or is likely to be contravene in relation to him, then without prejudice to any other action that is lawfully available, that person may apply to the High Court for redress. Now, what interests me most is the 5. It says that the rights, duties, declaration, and guarantees relating to the fundamental human right and freedom, especially mentioned in this chapter, shall not be regarded as excluding others not specifically mentioned, which are considered to be inherent in a democracy and intended to secure the freedom and dignity of a man. What it means is that the UN charters or African charter, international conventions and declarations that we have signed, which are not included in the Constitution, they are still relevant to the protection of freedom and dignity of man. We will see whether the AMA's action is fair and reasonable. When you give the people 3 days to leave a particular place, we'll find out. By the court will decide whether the 3 days is reasonable or it is fair. If the procedure, the international standard has been followed, that's all. That's all we are looking for.
But the point is, if you were to go to court on Mensa Guinea, for instance, the place is already down.
Yes.
So what do you want for them?
We will get there. There are a lot of relief that we can seek, and our lawyers will speak better to that issue. What exactly we want for the people. But the issue is that we need to tell the mayor and the city authorities that, yes, you are powerful, you have the political power and so on. You can do whatever you want to do, but there are laws that you have to respect. There are laws that you have to respect. There are procedures and standards that you have to follow. The chiefs and the people who are backing the mayor, I am not surprised, because these are the powerful people in society. But we cannot just allow powerful and rich people in society to just run on everybody just because they are vulnerable or they are settling at a place that we have described as illegal.
Well, apart from the power, I want to believe that they also have the rights in doing what they say.
Of course,
they
have the right. But let's see whether you are exercising your right within the content of the law. That's all.
Mr. Kumar, let's talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. That's
Old
a place.
Fadama.
Oh, so that is Old Fadama.
Yes.
Oh, so why do we call it Sodom and Gomorrah then?
It's a nickname, and we don't want to even mention it again. It's Old Fadama.
So that's Old Fadama. Then I know where you live then.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the plan? Because I think some time back we were told that they were going to get everybody out. Is it still the same? Have you been notified?
We've been having a series of eviction threats since 2003, and each time we try to fight against that eviction. You see, what we are engaging with the authorities is that it should either be relocation, upgrading, or compensation of any sort.
At whose cost?
At the cost of the authorities, the government.
They didn't ask you to settle there in the first place.
We are citizens. We contribute to the economy. And we have lived there for years. And like he said, there are laws. If you want to get somebody out of a particular land because it is yours, there are laws to follow.
What time will be enough for you if they say move out of Old Fadama?
I don't think we should be giving time at all. It's a question of negotiating. We should dialogue and come to a compromise. You see, we also have solutions to offer, but the unfortunate thing is that they don't involve us in their planning. That's the problem.
Okay, so let's hear briefly what your solutions are.
I've just mentioned 3 suggestions. It should either be relocation, upgrading of the place, or compensation.
Are you ready to contribute in any way if there's an upgrade, for instance?
Yes, we are.
What would you be contributing?
Number 1, we can provide people to do the work if there's upgrading.
Okay, so that's labor.
That's labor. We can provide labor. Number 2, after the structures have been put up, we can maybe come to an agreement to be paying instrumentally maybe for a period of 10 years or thereabouts, the cost of the structures, you see, in the form of rent. Then eventually we will finish paying the cost of them. So we are not asking for everything to be free, no.
And you are not insisting on living there?
Not at all.
If you are to be relocated somewhere else?
Yes, we will agree.
It doesn't matter where?
It doesn't matter where. Because like we keep saying, that place is not for us. And we are not claiming ownership. No. It's just that we just want them to do things the right way. That's all. Because if you evict people living in Old Fadama, a population of over 80,000, where do you expect them to go? They will come to the streets, and that will cause more problems for the authorities.
Let's talk about, what do you pay? What do you pay in terms of taxes or any, property rate or something that is collected from residents?
Nothing like property rate there. The Gans who claim ownership of the land used to take something from as property rates, but now I don't think they are still taking it. But now look at just the headquarters. We have about 15,000 of them in
15,000.
Yes.
At Old Fadama?
Yes. In that community alone. And if the authorities are taking, let's say, 20 pesos from each person every day, let's do some small calculation.
Do they take 20p from them?
I think it's now even 50.
They take it from the headquarters?
Yes, take headquarters.
As what?
As tax.
What kind of authorities?
AMA. AMA
Really?
takes, yes, about 20 pesos every day from 15,000 people. Every day, times 5 days or 6 days, times a month, a year. How much? Look at that alone. It's enough money. Then you look at people who work in the public sector. They pay taxes. The artisans there, they pay taxes. So we all contribute.
So you agree that you're going to court on this one?
Yes, we agree.
What would you want the court to do for you?
In the first place, we want to make sure that these evictions are stopped. Because the mayor is still threatening that he's going to continue to demolish other slums. But I think if we get to the court, we'll be able to stop that. That's the first thing. Then, like he said, the lawyers will talk better concerning what has already taken place. So we wouldn't know, we wouldn't be able to say what exactly here.
Do you fear that the exercise may soon come to Old Fadama?
I'm not scared at all. I know there can be eviction threat on Old Fadama, but I'm not scared that the evictions will come. They know.
Old Fadama is close to Agbogbloshie,
yes,
right?
Opposite
okay.
Agbogbloshie.
But you've heard about how filthy some parts of Agbogbloshie. You've heard about the filth in some parts of Agbogbloshie with regards to the outbreak of cholera,
yes.
because I think there were a series of reports in that particular area where there were leakages with the public toilets and that kind of thing.
Whose fault was it? It was not in Old Fadama. It was outside Old Fadama. I know where you are talking about. It was towards Arena. But it's the Agbogbloshie area, so you say Agbogbloshie. It's not even in Old Fadama at all. And we reported nothing was done for so many days. So when there is outbreak of cholera, you turn around to blame residents of Old Fadama.
Isn't this a bit difficult, because you have the chiefs and the mayor on one side, and then you have human rights activists and the slum dwellers on another side.
Yes.
I mean,
the law has no respecter of persons or authority. The law is the law. Doesn't matter how tall, big you are, how rich, powerful you are. The law is the law. Let's see whether Ghana respects the right of its citizens. Ghana respects international laws on human rights. That's all. It's all human right. It could be you tomorrow, it could be another person. It's all about human right. Respect for the dignity and the freedom of another person. Let's see whether the laws of Ghana and our courts can uphold the fundamental human right of vulnerable people, including powerful people. That's all. It's the law. This is not about the mayor. This is not about the chief or slum dwellers. It's about the law. If the law cannot protect the very people for which the law has been created, you see, I keep saying that the power vested in the mayor is derived from the election that was given to the president. And who gave the president that power? It's the people. The people gave the president the power to be president, to protect them. And the president thinks that the mayor, that exercise of protection and promotion could be done through the mayor. So the mayor is a representative of the president. So if the president is listening, we are calling on him to call the mayor to order, to refer the mayor to the provisions under the Constitution and the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights. That's all we are calling for. You can evict the people.
Mr. Kuma, have you petitioned the presidency?
Not yet.
Okay, but is it part of your plans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How soon are we starting this whole court process?
Sooner, once we are able to, gather the preliminaries, gather our facts and those things. Everything is right. We are on to the court. We'll let you know when we are moving to the court.
All right. So this is where we will end it. We'll pick it up from where you would start it off with regards to the court case. We'll be following through. But Mr. Kuma, thank you for your time, and Samuel Abuche, it's a pleasure hosting you again today.